Hey, this is Tim Pierce. My friend Alan Hinds came over to give us a guitar lesson. Alan is a beautiful soloist and a very gifted player. He's also an educator. He's taught at Musicians Institute here in LA for a long, long time. Also, he has a great new solo record called Fly South. If you want to see the expanded version of this, click the link below. Let's do it.
Students that come in, so I never want to tell them not to do this or to do that, but learning of the fretboard, we'll have like to pick one key, like maybe D major.
Yeah, which one we are now. Yeah.
And find all the notes on one string,
right?
And be able to play the major scale from all of those positions, not just starting in pattern 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5.
That's a good way to speak about it. So
yeah.
Everywhere on one string, and then be able to start it and go.
Because when you're improvising in the
heat
of the battle, you never know where you're going to land. You
Yeah.
want to be able to take off from there with whatever idea you have. So instead of doing any set patterns, which I really try to get out of doing, I like to see the guitar as one big pattern is ideally where you want to be. So I just have them play, and it doesn't have to be any particular kind of, I'm not really strict about which fingers they use, but I basically want them to be able to, and then be able to start, and
yes, yeah,
up and down the fretboard, and then that, because that's a big, they don't really get that. Or take one motif. I do a lot of motif building. I mean, that sounds like an exercise.
No, it's perfect.
But it's like where I'll take like one little simple, it might be something as simple as that, it covers a few strings, and just see if they can take it everywhere on the fretboard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It can be something as simple as that, but it can be a kind of a mind-twisting little jigsaw puzzle when you get in certain gray areas.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like and it's so simple. But I think once I kind of instill that little nugget in some ways, my curious students, whenever I get them, they go, "Oh yeah," and they come back the next week, they, "Hey man, I was doing."
We're in D major, and you're starting on the 5th interval, and you're playing this motif.
That's the one I chose this morning.
Yeah,
and it could be anything.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
And then you slide your hand up, and you start from the 6th interval.
That's right.
Every scale note advances up one number. Basically.
Yes, and it's a great way. It's a great workout because of the diatonic, all the intervals. The more variety you put in the first lick is going to make the next ones that much harder and much more.
Yeah, it's wacky.
More fun to see. But you would think it's a lot easier than it is.
Yeah. That one's killer. What am I missing here?
Well, I'll see you more dice.
That's it. Yeah, I cheated and did something simpler.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the kind of beauty of it. As long as you kind of keep it going, and then you could do. Here's the thing. I think sometimes I learned this from Joe Diorio when he was teaching at MI. Is that sometimes he would do things. He would use a different part of his brain. Like he had the book called The Right Brain Guitars, which was interesting concept of. He would sometimes just do a geometric mathematical side, when he was a little bored of what he was practicing. He'd go, "Okay, I'm gonna take this idea, but I'm gonna start on the B string." So it could be, there could be a whole nother.
You're really skipping intervals there.
Just skipping one string is how I'm looking at it in my head.
All right,
skipping the G string.
It's that odd one.
Oh, right.
You know, it's weird though. These are still good melodies.
They can be. Yeah, they turn into good melodies
Yeah.
too. And so that's a kind of a concept I give my students, and I can give them one little motif, and they can spend all week doing it.
Yeah, just frontwards, backwards, up and down.
I mean, I do a lot of. I kind of got known a couple of years ago as the legato guy for some. Hal Leonard did a book on me called, and I've never really thought about it that way. It's always just been, human nature to try to take the path of least resistance.
That's me too, though. Everything's with my left hand.
But that's why you have like a real warm. I think. Well,
I like the way it sounds.
I think it gives you a bigger window of dynamics. When if you pick everything, I mean that's not without its charm too, because I love Pat Martino and guys who like alternate pick a lot. Yeah. Paul Gilbert, but to me there's a certain sweetness that you get when you kind of can get it that soft, and it's that with amps as good as they are and pedals as good as they are, they pick up all that stuff your fingers do, and all those little soft things. I think this dynamically. I have exercises for legato stuff too that I give to my students sometimes, and it's basically playing scales without picking. Which is. I found out when I was a student of Scott Henderson's, before he got into his wang bar a whole lot, he used to do a lot of his vibrato like Alan Holdsworth would do, like a violin player would do it, doing it like that, where you're kind of pressing in between the fret, shifting the weight of your finger kind of, as it were.
Now when you do it, I can really hear it. When I do it, I can't hear it.
It's hard to do.
There's a little of it. I can really hear it.
So you can really go above and below that. And I think, doing that, because when I was a student, I was trying to be a Holdsworth one day, I was trying to be Robin Ford the next day, I was trying to be Scott Henderson. But that, learning the legato style and seeing Scott do that really kind of touched the nerve. And I think in doing that, and the fact that I didn't pick really too fluidly like the other students, I got a lot of strength with my left hand. And I think having the strength and the dexterity with your left hand or your fretting hand is the one that gives you the legato, like more, the possibility of, So I have my students play scales without even, picking.
That's a great idea.
It's hard to keep it, steady sometimes.
And do you tell them to like turn on an overdrive, or do you have them do it clean?
Clean. And to keep it steady is the hard part, right? And
how do you do it?
Well, you don't.
Like it's the hammer-ons are not speaking.
See if they can do the whole thing, and it forces you to use your little finger a little bit more, than you could.
Yeah. It's more of a useful tool.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a lot of key to the legato thing, is having that kind of, and then that's the thing, a lot of students, I give them an exercise of some kind of legato lick to do, and sometimes the students can pick it up, especially the rock guys, can pick it up and go, really friggin' fast. But then when you try to get them to slow down and do it over a funky groove, it's a whole different thing. Or a harder groove is that's like a harder lick too.
Oh man.
And then once again, using the other part of my brain, you can start skipping. That's where you get into some really hard. But it's really pretty, when you get it beautiful with the right with the right tone.
Yeah, I always forget that if I just make an ass out of myself for a couple of hours, then stuff starts
flowing.
And when I used to play live, I would start warming up at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Just because I knew it would make a huge difference when I walked out on stage, as far as.
And I'm the worst about that. I'm always, I show up late till they get, not late to my own gig, but I show right to the last minute, and then I go to the bar and I have a beer, and then I start playing. And
but you've dedicated your life to this thing, so it's.
Well, recently when I was in Japan, I was. I started warming up more and spending more time in the hotel, because I've been in Japan many times, and it's not as thrilling for me to go out sightseeing. So a lot of times I was spending more time in my hotel room, but I was playing more and practicing more, and I found out that the shows were better. I was much more
interesting,
much looser, and I should go, duh. Maybe I should. Maybe that has something to do with it,
Yeah, but